Good morning, everyone! It's Monday Live with MJ and Mr. Hermes, your source of good news where you start your week on a brighter side. This week we'll be talking about planting seeds. So there are two types of seeds that I'm going to be talking about. The one that is a fruit-bearing seed and the one that is a non-fruit-bearing seed. Both of them have the same purpose in our environment, in our community, in our lives. And the one thing that I want to point out is that the oldest tree in the entire universe or in the whole earth is about over 5,000 years old. And some of them were tested and some of them that were already tested and verified to be 4,900 years plus of age can be found in Wheeler Peak, Nevada. So Wheeler Peak, Nevada has the oldest tree, and also in White Mountains in California, there's also one of our 4,900-year-old trees. And so the reason why I talked about the number of years, like why we have 5,000-year-old tree, and at the same time, we wanted to talk about how we plant seeds spiritually, which is, it goes back to our history, Adam to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, the span of years between Adam and Jesus is about 4,000 to 6,000 years. And a lot of times, depending on biblical chronicle that you are reading, it could be 4,000 years or 6,000 years of span. So planting seeds in our spiritual side, so as in our social side, is very similar. So in our emotional side, I want to talk about planting seeds and our emotional reactions. So how come a lot of people grow their emotional reactions easily and fast? They grow patience, they grow great values and virtues more than anybody because they started a long time ago being able to be in control with their emotion. You see, the very famous quote by Martin Luther King Jr. is that the ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and adversities. It's also a similar quote that Morgan Freeman used at Angel Has Fallen movie. If you watch that movie, it talks about planting seeds, emotion. For a physical side, look at how many people here, although it's really bright and early, a lot of people are doing exercise at the center part. So we will start our morning exercising, feeding our brain with the right food, feeding our body with nutritious food, and also feeding our muscles with exercising or jogging or running first thing in the morning. So it's also a matter of getting into a habit. So that's planting seeds in our physical side. For our social side, if you notice why we choose this area here at the center of the road, the reason why we chose this area, because there is a social environment effect of the trees when you plant it at the center of the street. It actually creates calmness for drivers to drive by. They are in relaxed mode. There's less accidents gonna happen because that's how the importance of trees are. And also when it comes to our children who are learning and get lessons from school, they retain more information from the teachings in school if you expose children in greeneries or green spaces or green areas, especially for places where there's a lot of trees. And also another fact is, if you have a loved one who's undergoing a recovery right now from a surgery, it's great that people would always have to stare at trees because it helps with their speedy and fast recovery. And so it's very wonderful how these trees can actually outlive us as human beings. It can outlive us, it can even outlive a country. So it's start planting trees or start planting the seeds today. For a money side, let's hear from our money dog, Mr. Hermes.
How are you doing today? So, we were just talking about lots of great things. We're talking about habits. We're talking about being a fast learner. We're talking about lots of things you need to do in your business to get ahead or to improve or to start wherever you are in that process right now. One of the things that MJ and I were talking about on our walk the other day, we were talking about planting the seeds. And it's kind of serendipitous. A lot of times we're talking about something and then that night or the next day we actually see a line from a movie or we hear lyrics in a song while we're driving and it says the exact message that we're trying to actually say, but it's in a movie or it's in a song. So when we're talking about planting seeds, that could be, planting the seed of love in somebody, letting them know that you care about them, planting the seed in business. It's not just planting actual seeds, but, like the quote from Warren Buffett, somebody is sitting in the shade of a tree today because somebody planted that tree years ago. And you can't do anything today unless you started before. It's kind of like you don't want to be able to have to dig a well when you're thirsty. You want to have had to dig the well before. So you got to plant the seed. And in business, what does that mean? Are you going out and prospecting? So what are some ways you can actually make money from trees? We're talking about trees today, planting the seeds. There's amazing ways you can actually make money from trees. There's tree farmers all over the planet, and some of the most expensive, obviously, are going to be some bonsai trees. People love bonsai trees. Maybe a Japanese maple for the colors. But there's also, shade trees, instant shade trees. If you wanted a small business where you wanted to create shade trees like this giant monster, you're actually going to want to look at like American elm or maybe a regular maple tree, because those can grow really fast in short periods of time. Most people don't want to wait 10 years to get shade trees. They either want it for privacy or they want it for shade for cooling, and you want that in 2-3 years max. So you need a tree that's going to grow really quickly. Or what if you have just a grove of fruit producing trees? That's an amazing way. Even if you just want to cook in the kitchen, you want some lemons and limes and oranges and apples, but there's countries all over the planet. The small farmer has a small grove. He can produce papaya, bananas, mango, apples, whatever it is. Fruit-bearing trees are amazing. Now, on the flip side of that, what's a story about planting a seed and growing something amazing? So everyone knows who Jack Ma is, right? From Alibaba. Started in 1999. He actually just retired last year after 20 years. He wanted to retire after 20 years. That's what his game plan was 10 years earlier. But early on, he built this amazing platform, but he didn't make a lot of money. He put all of his money, the small amount of money that he did make, and put it back in the business. And I heard an interview recently where he was talking about a situation where he actually ran into one of his customers, one of his clients. They came in and said, "Amazing, Jack Ma, thank you so much for building this platform. And I know you don't make a lot of money, but I've made a ton of money in this platform, so I'm actually going to buy you whatever you're getting." I think it was at a restaurant. And he gave him some money because he knew that he didn't make any money from the business. So even back then, when he had an amazing platform and he was building it for everybody, he wasn't making the money. But years later, now he's worth over $40 billion and he's retired. And now he just has devoted himself to a life of philanthropy, which is an amazing story.
I just feel that I'm enthusiastic about what we are doing. At the beginning, for the first 5 years, I just want to survive. And 5 years later, I think...
That's 2000, from 90...
Yeah. But later, I think, wow, so many people's life changed. I was so excited, for the first 3 years, we made zero revenue. Zero revenue. But we are so excited to continue to work. You know what happened? I remember many times when I go to a restaurant and have dinner, somebody came, when I was trying to pay the bill, the owner of the restaurant came to say, "Sir, your bill is paid by someone." And a small note say, "Hey, Mr. Ma, I'm your customer of Alibaba Group, Alibaba platform. I made a lot of money, and I know you don't make any money. I pay the bill for you."
Yeah.
And I remember one day that I was sitting somewhere in the coffee, somebody sending me a cigar. I don't smoke cigar, but there's a note that, "Thank you very much, I'm your customer." And I remember in the Taobao days, I was at the Shangri-La Hotel in Beijing. When I got on the taxi, the man who opened the door for me, the boy at the gate, he said, "Jack, thank you very much. I'm since here, my girlfriend makes more money than I do on your site." And this is something that that It's not amazing. If you don't do it, nothing's possible. If you try to do it, at least you have the hope.
The revenue comes from advertising and a smaller amount from transactional.
So if you're wanting to create change, but you don't know what to do, mastermind with people, talk to people, try to create a group, brainstorm. But if you already have that perfect plan, start today. Even if it's baby steps, you got to start today so that 20 years from now you can look back and see your legacy. We're all building legacies. What is your legacy and what are you building? So
Like for example, this kind of trees at my back, like you see that they are as tall as I am. So most probably they are 15-year-old tree. And the tree on my left side right here, which is your right side, is a tree that's been planted 50 years ago, approximately 50 years ago. And Sean can tell you a story about it.
yeah, we're here on San Vicente, and you can see some of these trees are pretty small. And Jim was just showing you the comparison between some of these larger trees behind me and some of these smaller trees that they just planted. I can attest, when I was growing up, my family lived not too far from here, and both my parents used to run up and down this strip to get some exercise, and they used to run around these trees when they were only this small. So these trees are older than I am. They're in their 50, 60-year-old trees, maybe even more. But that's why it's so important to plant the trees, because if you wanted to have this tree, this giant tree, you got to start planting the little ones now. It takes 5, 10, 15, 20 years for them to get the shade going, to get the roots going. So it brings back a lot of memories from me being here, but knowing that these trees are older than I am is pretty amazing. We're having a great day. We're enjoying this wonderful weather. Happy Father's Day.
Have a wonderful day, and today we'll be continuing dancing on. Good morning, guys. We're back to our dancing, and I know that our topic is about
Trees and planting seeds.
it's about planting seeds. So what seeds have we planted so far last month for our dances?
So yeah, we did 3 steps or 5 steps of the West Coast Swing. The week before that, we did 5 different steps. Now we're going to incorporate 15 steps in a row, if I can do it.
Yes, Mr. Hermes on the most technical dance, ballroom dancing, West Coast Swing. Hermes. Happy Monday, guys. See you. Ciao.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, press the button below. And if you want to subscribe and watch us in future videos, press the subscribe button. And you can follow us on other social media accounts as well. But have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.